So were you able to put together some deals for some future productions of yours?
We just talking. It's like, and also I work very slow, and so making any plans with any producer makes them feel very tired, because I don't think except Dhanush, no other producer would be able to handle the kind of time that I take. And see, we were shooting for Vada Chennai. We shot one long schedule, and this came, and then I told Dhanush, the next 3 months I'm going to go there and be in Hollywood promoting the film. He said, okay sir, you go, I'll just do one more film here, you come back, then let's start again. It was a very expensive film, that is. And the one set that we erected was costlier than the whole budget of Visarane.
Okay.
And I just finished a schedule and then left. It's been like 5 months now. So he's just waiting for me to come back and resume the shoot. So it's really hard to collaborate with me when I'm still working on a film. So I myself don't push my producers or people who are interested to work with me, and during that time I just say, let's finish this film and then see.
So people talk about a certain kind of film, an Oscar type of film. That is the kind of film that's likely to appeal to the Oscar voter. At any point, did you get the feeling that Visarane was not that kind of film? Did you get that feeling that it was not probably going to be a sure shot?
Right from the beginning, I had that feeling, because whatever that I have learned previously, and then the biggest lesson that we learned after landing there is that the voting members are elder people who prefer to watch lighter vein films, emotionally moving films, which they are able to connect to. And even if the content is relevant, if it is not dealt in the way that they can handle it, then they're not ready to accept it. And Visarane is one such film. They all accept with the violence and how marginalized people are being, especially right now in the US, how insecure all the minorities are feeling, and how the migrant issue is has grown out of proportion. It was so relevant for them, but then they were not able to handle the harshness of the film. One more very exciting thing about this whole US trip was the Uber aspect of it. We were driving, I think, to meet Vijay Amritraj. So we screened the film for him, and so on the way, Guneet, Alif and I, all of us were going, and this African American girl was driving the car. We were talking about schedule, planning, preview screening and all those stuff. She said, okay, I understand, I know, I speak your language. She said, what do you do? She said, no, I was working for Sundance for the past 5 years. Now I'm also making films. Okay, what do you do? I thought, it's a short film. No, I just did a feature documentary now. Okay. Very surprising. And then I asked her what the idea is about. It's a very, very interesting idea. It is about the African American girls not wanting to have the curls and straightening the hair.
Right.
So it says, the film talks about why African American girls should have the curly hair. so in a way, it speaks about their ethnic identity and their uniqueness. Very, very surprising thing. And then we invited her for our next screening, and then she came with her editor, who happens to be an Indian, and a couple of other people. All of them were so moved by the film, and we realized that this film connects so much with the African Americans in America right now. That was these are things that we don't get to learn when we live in the safety of our own place.
Right. Bollywood's still the main thing on people's minds when they, in the non-Indian viewers' minds, when they hear that a film is from India, like when they hear that you are an Indian filmmaker and you're coming from India, do they know that there are places other than Bollywood in India that make Indian films as well, or do they think your films are like that?
See, this is the biggest hurdle that we had, and that was the first thing that we put in our presentation of the film, which is like, India is the largest film producing country in the world, and we have 24 official languages, I think 24. Yeah, 24 official languages, I think. And films are made in more languages in India. But the visibility is only for the so-called Bollywood Hindi-speaking films. And Hindi-speaking films, they don't highly regard those films. They just write it off saying, oh, okay, this song and dance Hindi films.
Right.
So it took us really a long time for to present it to them in such a way that they will understand. So to tell them that, okay, this is a different language, this is a culturally differently situated film, and you have to come and see the film to know the difference. There are two American-Indian youngsters who said, we are so happy that this film is not like the regular Indian films that we get to see here. So happy that we can proudly say that this is an Indian film, they said. So these are the things that we get to know.
Okay. Alif Surti, you talked about your executive producer. He recently said that the minute the Oscar stamp is attached to you, it opens a lot of doors, and that he said you were wooed by talent agents, and you got an offer to direct an episode of an English language TV series set in the world of drug smuggling in Latin America.
Yeah.
So you didn't take it up.
I actually wanted to give it a shot, but Alif was saying that let's not do it. Let's do if we do it, let's do it in the comfort zone of us, and we will set the terms of doing it, not just going and you doing one episode. Hollywood really believes in Oscars, and if you are having that tag to you, then you are respected there, and obviously doors open to you, people respect you.
Okay. Even if now after this session, because your film did not get nominated, but even then you have that Oscar tag associated with you, is that what you're saying?
It will have. The film is there, and you already that is the key.
Okay.
Official selection is the key.
Right. So having the Oscar tag, does it also help the financial prospects of your film on a worldwide release basis?
I don't think so.
You don't think so? Okay. Speaking of finance, how did Visarnai do at the box office?
See, we made the film in 2.75 crores, I think, and the numbers are not specific, but it's
right.
With print and publicity, it all came up with the interest and all those stuff. It came up to five something, and 5.5 something, and then the theatrical share for the film was 3.5 something, and we got a very good deal with Netflix.
Okay.
And overseas we sold. It's a very taking into consideration the content and the way the film was made, and the kind of talent that came to make the film. This is a very successful film.
Okay.
Monetarily, my producer is happily sitting on a very good margin of profit.
There's a reason I asked the box office question, because the films that do well in Tamil Nadu, that is the Tamil films we're talking about, there is a certain entertainment quotient associated with them. Now let's take Kaka Muttai. That's also a festival film, but there's a certain lightness to the film. Even if a person does not go into the subtext of globalization and all in that film, he still comes home happy with the antics of two cute little kids and their attempts to taste a pizza. Whereas Visarnai is also a festival film, but it's not the conventional meaning, or it does not give you the conventional definition of entertainment. So it's easy to see why Kaka Muttai was such a hit. Whereas it's interesting that you say that Visarnai also did very well at the box office. So
for me, I look at films in a different way. The more important aspect of films is how the protagonist has an identifiable element, identifiable value for the viewer.
Okay.
It's not just entertainment.
Right.
It's got more to do with it. If you are able to identify with the character that is being played, and then you are in for the character, especially when it's a life or death situation. If it's going to deal with the primal emotions, like the survival, lust, or hunger, greed. These are things that immediately connect. One way or other, we connect with it, and then we are with the characters. And also, I feel that as every script is written, so should the promotion of every film be written. So every film needs a certain way of pitching and setting up, and I'm happy that I was able to do that for two different kinds of films, like Kaka Muttai one and then Visaranai another one. So we built these films in a certain way where people really wanted to watch the film, and for Visaranai I really need to thank the greats of Tamil cinema. Mani sir went out of the way and he gave me a bite for the trailer, and Rajini sir tweeted, Kamal sir tweeted. They were like behind this film, and they really wanted to make sure that this film is a successful film on the mainstream platform. Before the release, I told my team that if this film becomes a successful film, commercially successful film, then I would call the Tamil mainstream viewer the most refined mainstream viewer in the world. And I think they've proved that right.
So let me just dig into that a little deeper. When you said you designed the publicity strategies for Kaka Muttai differently and than the one for Visaranai, can you give us like a couple of examples to show how?
No, see, the whole promotion strategy of Kaka Muttai was on a celebratory note.
Right.
We were trying to celebrate, and we were selling the idea of celebration to the audience. I always believe in one thing, that don't disappoint the viewer. Don't promise something and give something else.
Right.
That I always believe in.
Right.
So when I initially started the promotions for Visaranai, the first thing that I told was, I don't want youngsters, like children under 14 watching this film.
Right.
Because I really don't want my daughter to watch that film. She's just 7 years old. I don't want her to watch this film on her own and lose hope on the world. See, though the world is filled with harsh realities like that, I don't want kids growing cynical and skeptical. Right. So they should believe that, good things will happen to good people.
Right.
It might not be the truth, but they should believe that and grow. So that was the first thing that I said about the film. So we are keeping it clear.
So you've been someone who's been taking his films to festivals fairly consistently. What made you think that could be both a source of marketing as well as revenue?
Revenue is secondary, but more than that, like it opens up avenues to reach to more people, and the visibility on us and our work gets wider. I think for Kaka Muttai and Visaranai it worked that way. So Kodi is a film that didn't need that. So that way, it's something that we, right from the beginning, right from the conception of the film, that how it has to be pitched, how it has to be set, and based on that we start working. And then again, taking the film to festivals is as tricky as a film becoming commercially successful. There's no sure shot rules.
Right.
Because when we were trying to push the film to Venice, the first round of films were announced and we were not there. The second round was announced, we were not there. Then I was like totally gone. Like I was really blank. I didn't know what to do, because if I am going to wait for another festival, it will happen only in February, which is Berlin. Berlin might not take a film like that. So every film has its own, every festival has its own kind of films. Then I will have to wait for Cannes to happen, which is May. And I've already made my producer wait for 2 years, and then they can't wait further. It would have become a big pressure. And then they sent a mail saying that they have invited the film for Horizonte.
Yeah.
And Visaranai was the first feature film to be in a competitive category in Venice.
Right. Do you think a fire has been lit, in the sense that do you think you're going to have an Oscar in your mind when you make your future films?
No, I will never have any festival or anything in my mind while I make the film. If one of my films are going to be again sent for the Oscars, I don't know if I would be as fervent as this in pushing the film. Of course, I will go there and do the, I'll play the game, but I think I know more to play the game fervently. That's going to be hard for me to do.
Okay. So are you saying you're a bit cynical about the whole thing?
No, not cynical. You could call, like, I know the tricks of the trade better than earlier.
Okay. All right. So for people who want to take a shot at this, let's say there's a future filmmaker who's nominated, do you have any tips or advice? For instance, can they come to you for a crash course on how to play the game, as you called it?
Yeah, definitely. I'm always open to do the class, but the only point is, the most important point is, you should have a reckless producer like mine to burn his hands and to spend more than what he spent on making the whole film for the promotion of this film. That's it. Like, if he has a producer like mine, then obviously everything else will follow.
Lovely. Thank you, Vetri Maaran. Thank you for sharing your experiences with us. We hope you liked watching this show. If you liked what you just saw, subscribe to this channel, Film Companion South. We hope to see you in the next episode.